A 2016 study by the Government Accountability Office found that 60% of polling places have at least one accessibility issue. And now, with a global pandemic, they find that the greatest minority group will face barriers voting that they've never seen before.
We want to vote the same way everyone else is voting.
Meet Linda Melendez of Keyport, New Jersey. She is the vice president of the National Federation of the Blind. She voted every year after turning 18 years old, and it wasn't until she was 39 that she lost her vision, losing her right to vote independently.
I've always voted when I turned 18 years old. A lot of my family members did not vote. So I was very adamant in getting them all to register to vote, and we used to have voting parties. We would meet after my job and we would go vote together. Then when I moved to New Jersey, a year later, I went blind, and so I was no longer able to vote independently.
This year, we must send in our ballot differently than we have in past years due to COVID, leaving many people in America who are disabled frustrated, as reported by Jean Myers of the USA Today Network, NJ.
I mean, people with disabilities are a broad spectrum. People with visual impairments, they can't see the ballot. But people forget people with dexterity issues, people who can't sign or use a pen. So a lot of people maybe who are older, who have arthritis, and they can't fill in the little dots on the ballot. Deaf community, voting is not as big of an issue because their disability isn't necessarily affected by paper ballots or by voting machines. They can just go in and read the paper ballot and fill it out appropriately.
Linda explains that by not being able to vote independently presents a variety of challenges.
If I put it myself and I don't put the ballot in the envelope, it gets discarded. If I don't sign it properly, it gets discarded. But this time to vote, I couldn't go to the poll. I couldn't go. I couldn't do it all by myself. So my son had to sit with me, and he put the choices down that I told him to. Now, I'm lucky that my son put down the choices that I want. We take a chance when we ask someone else to put in our selections. Are they putting in what we want them to put in, or are they putting in who they want to vote for? So I'm losing my privilege to vote.
Mary Saccone of the Disability Rights NJ explains that legally, every polling place must be accessible for all.
All polling places must be accessible, meaning that there must be an accessible route of travel to the polling the polling place where the machines are. So that means there can't be any steps. That means if there are ramps, those ramps must meet ADA requirements. That means if there's a door, that door must be unlocked and must be able to be opened. The good thing is that the state has agreed to make sure that for people who can't use paper ballots, they could have requested an accessible vote by mail ballot, or they can go to the polling places tomorrow and vote on an accessible machine.
Although Linda feels fortunate enough to have her son help her, she is frustrated with the leadership of the state to be put in this position.
They need to understand the position that we are in. Sometimes we get so involved in what we have to do that we need to take a step back and say, we are the leaders and the politicians of this county, this town and this state, and what can we do to have our disabled community, not just blind, but our disabled community able to live the life the way that we live the life.
Reporting from Keyport for New Jersey News Network, I'm Kimberly Kravitz.